This computer. Okay, perfect. So we are now doing the recording. That's good. So I was saying this. One of the things that I am working on or preparing for the retreat is the general idea is to talk about all these talks. I'm going to call them sacred life, because I believe that we need to reinforce the idea that our life is sacred, and most of us, we are pretty far from there. I mean, intellectually we can agree, and we can even somehow and sometimes even feel or connect with that concept, but most of the time we are not um, really there. And I would like, during the entire retreat, to reinforce that idea. And then because of it, the first topic to talk about is basically embracing connection. Or we can put it differently, but the idea is why we feel separated. No? And I start with the first of the seven Mahavakyas, because the first of the seven Mahavakyas basically is Aham Brahmasmi, the mantra Aham Brahmasmi. And the mantra Aham Brahmasmi means basically, I am the universe. A second, I am working on this and it's not working. I can make it smaller. Okay. So I am the universe is me. That's the first of the seven Mahavakyas. Remember that Maha means great and Vakyas means saying. The seven Mahavakyas are sort of seven great sayings that somehow encompass to all the Vedanta knowledge. We can put it that way. And interestingly enough, they do all these things through mantras. That's why mantras are so powerful, because then when you are basically, we lost Caro.
No, I'm recording in progress. My
Oh,
computer.
well, because it says that, oh, there is another Carol,
There's two of me.
two of you. Okay,
I don't know
I'm
how
go
to get rid of the other one.
I'm going to mute you.
Oh, perfect.
Is
All
your
right.
computer off, Carol?
In this, Carol, is your phone or what it is?
This okay. This is my computer. So
Okay, perfect. So your computer is working now.
computer's finally working. Yay!
Fantastic. Excellent. So I'm going to remove you from here, your phone. Is that okay?
Yeah. That's good.
Remove iPhone, Carol, remove.
Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. Sorry. Submit. Do you want to report? Don't report. Basically, and then what I wanted, when we talk about Aham Brahmasmi, actually, I have it here in my ring. Actually, you can't even read it anymore, but in here it says Aham Brahmasmi. When we talk about this mantra, I am the universe is me, it's so beautiful. But again, once again, as I was saying before, regarding on how much deeply in our heart we believe that our life is a sacred life, how much deeply in our heart we believe that we are the universe and part of this universe, and the universe is all in me. Again, it's a very complex knowledge, or a very complex idea. And even though somehow we have some glimpses of it, because we are meditators, because we practice yoga, because many different reasons, still it's very hard for most of us to be there. It's very hard for most of us to live in that space. And the idea of embracing connection is related to this sort of problem, if we want, or this sort of I would say dilemma. So that's what I'm going to try to develop today in our talk. Now, this is very important. Science, actually, the standard model of physics, agree with this mantra, because when you study the standard model of physics, you know that everything, absolutely everything in this cosmos is proven already by physicists. Is made of the same structure. So this window you have on your back where you are, dear Carol, or this ring that I show you, on my eyes, on my hair, or this computer I have in front of me, and everything, absolutely everything in an atomic level is made of the same structure. All of it. And the structure is based on matter and energy, the fermions and the bosons, and the matter are quarks and leptons, and the energy are bosons and called gauge bosons and the Higgs bosons. So energy and matter working together. This is something that was discovered or proven with the particle of God. I don't know if you remember that. I think that it was 2012, if I am not wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong with the year. I don't remember exactly, but it was a year in which basically in Europe with the Hadron Collider, they collide two atoms. Maybe I'm wrong about that too. Maybe protons, I don't remember. And then basically they proved that what Peter Higgs said back in the 60s was right. There was no way to prove it until they built this Hadron Collider. But Peter Higgs was a scientist, physicist, that back in the 60s, he came up with the standard model of physics. And the standard model of physics, basically what it says is that absolutely everything in this universe, everything that we know about, is made of the same thing. So when I try to understand this, when I just think about it, I say, well, this sounds like the mantra Ham Brahmasmi. I am the universe is me. So everything seems to be kind of the same story. Now, then again, the question is why we feel separated. Because if I am the universe and the universe is me, then there is no separation. We are all together. This is all the same story. Even though, honestly, in deep in our heart, we are completely separated from everything. We are this skin encapsulated ego, as Alan Watt used to define us, right? We are this skin encapsulated ego that is constantly doing its best in order to survive in this sort of experience that we call life. And then Aham Brahmasmi is a very far concept. And then the idea that a banana and a human being share, I don't know, a percentage of the DNA, a big percentage of the DNA, like a 40 or 60%, is something that, yes, we understand intellectually, we repeat it, we make jokes about it, but deep in our heart, we are pretty far from a banana. I can even consider myself like what is the relationship I have with a banana? Right? But then this is the idea, why we create this separation. So I come up with three things. I am not saying that this, never I say that what I say is the truth. What I said is what I studied through Vedanta, what I put together through my experience, and what I believe it is, and that's it. And I come up with three concepts. The first concept is the perception problem. The second reason is the narrative problem. And the third reason is the identification problem.
What was the second one, Diego?
Narrative.
Narrative, okay.
The narrative problem. I call it that way, just, ways to call. I am not even an English speaker. I mean, English is my second language also. Yeah, exactly. So I choose things. Like the other day, I say something and then my parents say, you don't have to say that. And I say, why? You say 2 minutes before me. I just say it out loud. And I say, yes, exactly. You say it out loud. You don't say that these things out loud. So
what was number 3 after narrative?
The first reason should be the perception reason. I explain it. Then I'm gonna try to explain it, right? And after I just number this. The second reason, and I put it in that order because somehow it's like a map. Perception, narrative. We build a narrative with that perception that we have. We build a narrative, and then we identify with it. That would be the behavior, right? So we perceive, we create a story, and we believe the story. And that's it. After that, we are completely attached into that story, into that game that we call reality. And this is reality, and this is who I am, and this is how things are, and that's it. And I live within those parameters. I live within those boundaries. Make any sense? So let's start exploring these 3 things, and then we sort of discuss a little bit about this. What is the perception problem? Well, one of the things that the mind does constantly is to split. Me, you, inside, outside, subject, object. We are constantly splitting. When that happens, when we split, when is the moment in which we split? At the moment in which we wake up. Every day. As soon as we wake up, say, oh, this is me and this is what's going on around. Before that, in a different state of consciousness, we don't split the same way. Who is Diego in deep sleep?
Who knows?
Doesn't exist.
Oh. No such thing? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there is no such thing as Diego in deep sleep.
Can you prove that?
Well, think about it. You are in deep sleep. Think about yourself in deep sleep. All what you believe is Karen, all what you identify about Karen, all what is surrounding you, all what is going on around in deep sleep. Does it exist?
Well, I'm just thinking of, when people get hooked up to all these monitors and they want to see if they have sleep apnea and all those kinds of things. So they're monitoring everything that's going on in your mind in your deep sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. And?
So you're saying we constantly split?
Huh?
I wrote we constantly split off from...
We don't split when we are in deep sleep. Okay. Zero split. Okay. Zero consciousness.
Okay.
Even though we can prove that there is zero consciousness, and there are some reasons. For example, the mother that is in completely deep sleep and somehow intuitively know that her baby is having a problem, right? Well, what happened there? What connection? So there are little layers in this statement, but still think about you in deep sleep. Your mind doesn't separate between Diego, Karen, the war, not the war, air, not air, cosmos, no cosmos, water, red. No, there's nothing. Now, when you move into dreaming state of consciousness, then you start just having sun consciousness, and then yes, right there, this sun split. But definitely the split happens as soon as you open your eyes and you decide, oh, this is me and the rest of the universe, the object and the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Make any sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And
so those are a state of consciousness. Two things with this idea of a split. Then life, as we see it, life, I would say reality as we see it, doesn't happen out there, happens in consciousness. Because if I am in deep sleep, Diego doesn't exist. So where is Diego? Who is this Diego thing? And that happens in consciousness. I will explain later, but just think about it. So, related to perception, because we perceive through the mind, right? We perceive through the five senses and to our brain, and then we elaborate with the mind. And there is a big discussion. I don't think that there is anymore a big discussion about the mind and the brain in science. I think that somehow there is no more discussion, but there is a difference between the mind and the brain. The brain is the hardware and the mind is the software, to put it somehow, to explain it somehow, right? The brain is not the mind, because we don't say I am out of my brain. We say that I am out of my mind. The brain is in there processing stories. Your brain, my brain, Carol's brain, everybody's brain, sort of the same. Different chemicals, different sizes, but sort of the same functioning in the prefrontal cortex, the limbic, the hippocampus, the reptilian. So all these areas, are kind of even the same in every human being. Now think about your mind, my mind, and your mind, and Carol's mind. So modern neuroscience agrees with this. Our eyes don't see reality. What our eyes see are electromagnetic waves that are between 380 to 700 manometers. So whatever is not in that range, our eyes can see. So what is reality, though? Any other being in this planet see in a completely different way. They see under or more than 700 manometers, depending. I am saying these statements, but I am trying to be simplistic about this. If not, it becomes very sort of too dense. So, but follow my idea. My idea is, you see, we have a range. Our eyes see from here to here. Whatever is in here doesn't exist because I don't see it. It means that doesn't exist. So what is reality? There is no sound out there. There is no sound out there. We created in our ears because of the pressure, wave pressure in our ears. That's why we have this organ. That's why many noises we don't hear. That's why dogs become so crazy when they hear a big high vibration that we don't even hear. And it's like a pressure. It's like they really become like please stop this. I can deal with this sound, this noise. Our skin detects mechanical pressure and temperature. It doesn't exist out there. Our skin detects it and send information to our brain. Our nose detects molecules our tongue detects chemicals. So the brain, what it does is to assemble all these signals into this, what we call reality. And again, as I say before, reality doesn't happen out there. There is no sun out there. There is no color out there. There is no temperature out there. There is nothing out there what our brain, all of that, what we see, what we hear, what we listen, is processed in our brain.
Right.
This is a huge statement.
Well, it's different for everyone, isn't it?
To begin with, that's why we have so many problems that we don't agree with each other, because we see different things.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, the other day I was in a dinner with friends, and then, you know, one friend of mine, I love her, say, I talk about the World Cup, and I say, well, you know, it's like people say that the game between Egypt and Argentina was raw. And then just like this, she say, it was raw. And I say, what? And then I say, well, that's why the referee, you know, because it doesn't matter what I see, which I see 1,000 times. You are going to keep saying that this is penalty, and I'm going to say this is no penalty. And then that's why it's a referee who is the one that decides this is penalty or is no penalty. That's it. The ref is always right. So that's why we have these problems. You know, we see things completely different. But in any case, the red color doesn't exist. There are photons of certain wavelengths. Red is a brain interpretation.
Right.
When you see something red, it's not there, it's right here.
Right.
So you are in a symphony, in a Beethoven symphony, and then Beethoven exists in consciousness. Beethoven doesn't exist out there. Now the question then is why we somehow share this experience. Because if the three of us say, oh, let's Dudamel does the last concert in Los Angeles and is going to play the 5th Symphony of Beethoven. Let's go. I have tickets. So we go there, and then we say, we're listening to Beethoven. No, you're not going to tell me now, this is not Beethoven. This is something different. What are you hearing? Are you hearing Beethoven, or are you hearing something different? No, we all agree, right? Why we are sharing this experience? Why we all agree that the sky is blue? Why we all agree that the rose is red? Why? That's the narrative problem. We organize perception into stories.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why. We organize what we perceive into stories. And we do this by education and by repetition. Again, we organize perception into stories. And we do this by education and by repetition. Is what is called, let's put it this way, the building of the ego map. Because through this, we develop a personality. Because we have all these perceptions and we live in these circumstances, and then create that, all of that, this education, this repetition, this perception, create this thing that I call Diego. All my experiences in life. the way that I perceive whatever was happening around me, the way that I perceive the energy of my father, the way that I perceive the energy of my mother, the way that I perceive myself into this story. The interpretation and the narrative that I create is my personality. What is my personality? It's something that I create by responding to all these triggers, because we have these triggers. It's not that there are not electromagnetic waves touching us, like the sound, the temperature, the colors, and all what we see. Yes, we have to come up with something, and we come up with something, and that's why we educate ourselves, and by repetition, we just create all this planet in which we live. Now, if we would be able to see through a bee eyes, then probably the world that you see would be a completely different one. Make any sense? So how we build this map, this ego map? Well, perception creates boundaries, and memory reinforces these boundaries. And then thought narrate these boundaries. And then emotions protect them. And then repetition solidifies the illusion. And then Alan Watts is right when he defined human beings as ego encapsulated, skin encapsulated egos. Because we, through this process, become these skin encapsulated egos. We create this narrative, we have this perception, and then because of all of this, we create what we call Diego. This narrative is what gives rise to the identification problem, which is the last problem to me. Because all of this, what it does is to create the identification problem, which is the moment in which we believe all this story. We deeply believe all this story. If not, close your eyes for a second and think about your body. How much identification you have with your body. When you say Karen, you see your body. When you say Diego, you see this body. How much identification I have with this body? How much identification I have with the senses? Whatever you perceive through the senses, that's it. This is what it is. It's a rose, it's the sky. How much identification you have with your mind? Whatever your mind thinks, then you identify. How much identification you have with your emotions, with your intellect, with your memories. How much identification you have with your roles. Husband, wife, son, daughter, grandfather, grandmother, professor, executive, banker, chauffeur, yoga teacher. How much identification you have with your possessions. How much identification you have with your relationship. How much identification you have with your achievements. I wrote one book. And after I wrote it, I changed my sign on the email, and then I am not anymore what I was. I was an author now.
You were what? I missed something.
I am an author now. Author, a writer.
Oh, an author.
Author, yes, exactly.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I thought you wrote more. You're writing more than one book, right?
Yeah, well, okay, but I am just trying to make fun of myself.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to say, that's an achievement. I feel it as an achievement, and that
Huge.
Give me the necessary entitlement to call myself an author.
Huge. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, but then let's talk about that you said. Nobody's saying, hey, no, sorry, you don't have a body. Hey, sorry, you don't have achievements. Hey, no, sorry, you don't have relationship, you don't have sense, you don't have mind. Nobody's saying that. The problem is when we believe that we are that. And then we start suffering, of course, because our body changes.
As you believe it, you mean? Your body changes?
No, the problem is when we believe that we are that, because all these things change constantly. Roles, for example, relationships.
Yeah, okay.
And then you believe that you are that, and then suddenly you are not anymore that. So what you are now when you are not that?
I see.
And then we have a big problem there.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yes, exactly. And that's why this is what we call identification and the building of the ego, or the ego map. Beliefs, experiences. When we are confined by these aspects of life, that's when the problem arises. If we are just creating these boundaries, we are confined by these aspects of our life, then we have a problem. So that's why we meditate, because something very interesting happens when we meditate. When we meditate, perception slows. All this labeling softens. It's not important. When we meditate, these compulsive narrators weakens. This compulsive narrator that has the need to narrate everything and create these stories about everything, it disappears. When we meditate, awareness somehow begins to experience reality before this sort of division that our mind creates. And that's why meditation is very important. There is a beautiful quote of Krishnamurti. Actually, nobody knows if really it was Krishnamurti who said, but somehow, for some reason, they say that Krishnamurti said, and he said, if you tell the name of the bird, if you tell a child the name of the bird, the child will never see that bird again. It's a profound truth that defines all what I said, or tried to say, or tried to explain during these 20 minutes or 30 minutes we were together. If you tell a child the name of a bird, the child will never see that bird again.
Can you explain that?
From the moment that you tell the name, the child is going to see the story you create in his mind, on her mind.
Yeah.
Stop seeing what is seen, it switches and say, pigeon.
Right. Yeah. It's your mind, your ego gets in the way, or it creates its own.
This compulsive narrator.
Yeah.
We have a compulsion, I don't know how to say it properly or express it properly, to narrate, to create a narrative. Why? Because when we create a narrative, we can stick with that. We create boundaries. We're constantly creating boundaries. We need these boundaries in order to exist. So it's a hide and seek game in which we are in. And meditation can really help to soften that. And that's why we meditate. Any questions?
How about it, Carol? How many million do you have?
It's all phenomenology. It's philosophy all over again.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, but we need to understand why. Let's go to the beginning, because the beginning is the story, right? Aham Brahmasmi. Why this is not deepening our heart? Why this is not part of our foundation? I am the universe is me. Well, at least we have some explanation here. And then through that explanation, we can understand our life, and through that life, we maybe can start softening whatever is not helping us to evolve. And that's why I'm saying all what I am saying. I deeply believe in all what I said, but it doesn't mean that because I believe in all what I said, I am still not this skin encapsulated ego. That's what I make the joke about the book.
Mm.
Because somehow we go into this space over and over and over and over and over again. We wake up in the morning, our body goes this way, our mind goes this way, and spirit, we don't even know how to spell it. And it's very difficult for us to even understand any of this. And then that's what I insist on the separation and embracing the connection. Why is important to embrace connection? Because you want to basically realize that there is no separation, that all the separation that we create is created, and is created by our mind. When we see an enemy, we create that enemy. When we see someone different, we create that difference. And of course, it's very difficult to live in that level, and it creates a lot of turmoil in our mind, because basically it's in our mind in which we create all this story, and we keep holding on. And meditation is very helpful, because when we meditate, most of it starts softening. All of this loses the importance, how much importance we give to this. And I believe that that's why meditation is so powerful. All right, so do you want to meditate on this?
Yeah, I want to ask you, is this
ask me all the questions that you may have.
Well, this one is just about us. Like, I'm so proud that you invited Carol and I to come in to this lecture that you're having, and it's for us.
Oh, thank you so much. Basically, I want to keep this ongoing. Like, in reality, the seminar was designed from the moment that we did the first retreat, because I want to give the group some sort of support over the years. Right. And that's why the seminar is. And I'm going to keep it. And if there is just one of you, it's one of you. And if there is 10 of you, it's 10 of you.
I just find that interesting, that it's just us. And I didn't know how that worked out. Nobody signed up, or we couldn't wait to get here, or whatever it was. But it seems a little bit questionable to me. Like, well, didn't other students hear you say, Monday night at 6:00, we're going to be on Zoom? What happened to those folks?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, Well, it's not my business, and if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother me because we
Oh, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, I've been doing this, and sometimes I was in front of 260 people, and somehow I am in front of one people at the loft. How many times at the loft just one person chose?
Yeah, no, I like this very much, the way it worked out. It makes me feel grateful to
Oh,
have.
thank you so much. I appreciate that you are here, because then I can move forward and go and explore these ideas, because when I say all these things, it helped me to rethink what I'm saying and polish what I'm saying and polish what I am believing, or what because sometimes um, even when you are saying it, you feel like, oh, really? This is it? Or what happens a lot to me is like, oh, wow, I was saying this like 10 years ago.
And it was true.
Hmm?
And it was true. Is that what you're saying? That you're
Well, maybe it's not. That would be a problem, but but
no, but
that's life.
Everything
you're
changes.
sharing your education as time has gone.
Whatever I am saying, I believe on this, and whatever I am saying, I share it from my heart. Then I may be wrong. Who knows? I am not here to say this is the right thing or this is what it is. I am here to share some story, and from that story, you come up with something. Maybe it resonates for you, maybe it doesn't. Maybe I am not able to explain it properly in order for you to kind of understand or get the message. But, I am doing my best. Usually, and this is something that you probably hear already, when you teach something is the moment in which you really learn it, right?
Yeah,
And it's absolutely truth, because then you teach it, and then you really have to do that, take that step, which is helping you to solidify whatever it is, the message. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love this. I love all of this, because I believe that these are things that we don't, it's difficult to grab, very difficult to grab. Is when I say Diego doesn't exist. Diego doesn't exist when I am in deep sleep. Diego is all this creation. I didn't even choose my name.
Mm.
And then I come out with, this is Diego, the yoga teacher. I study with Deepak Chopra, and blah, 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 blah. And then, and then, then we miss it. And then we miss it. And that's for me the problem, how we keep missing it, and how repetitive we are in this sense. Like we go to the same space over and over again, and we keep repeating the same story over and over again. Makes sense. If you kind of go through all of this, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense, because it's all about the education and repetition.
Right.
We were educated in one way, and we keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and then we believe in this illusion. What for me is fantastic is that Vedanta, which is a millenary knowledge, is saying these things for thousands of years ago.
Uh-huh.
So my work is somehow to try to bring what science is saying these days, and what I believe, and what I just see in the best language I can, in order to address the problem. And for me, the problem of perception is big, the problem of the narrative is super big, and the problem of identification is worse. We are completely identified with whatever it is, to the point that we just even get emotional about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you're Diego, and that's who you are and what you believe and have studied and so on.
Well, the point is this helping me or is not?
What about us? It's helping. I'm speaking for Carol and myself, but it's greatly effective and educational.
All right, so let's meditate.
Okay. Okay.
So please close your eyes. And then let's basically meditate on all what we were sort of going through. The idea of perception, the idea of the narrative we create, the stories we create through that perception, and the idea of identification. Just ask the question, how much all of this is affecting me? As you close your eyes, you go there and you just observe the thoughts that arise, the emotions that arise. How do you feel about all of this? Just take a moment. Think about the conversation we had and what your responses to these ideas is. Or are. Now, when you feel ready, shift your attention towards your heart and start reconnecting with your heart. Feeling the air going to your heart and from your heart going out. Moving energy through your breathing towards and from your heart. Establishing yourself within your heart. Take a moment. And then when you were able to establish yourself within your heart, start repeating the mantra. And we start this conversation, Aham Brahmasmi. I am the universe and the universe is me. Just keep repeating the mantra over and over and over again. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. stop the repetition of your mantra. Continue with your eyes softly closed. And when you feel ready, gently open your eyes. So I imagine that over time you will have many questions, so you can contact me at any time. I'm going to send this link out with this recording, so you are going to be able to watch it again if you want it. And still, this is something that we're going to, and most of you are coming, we're going to deep into the exploration in the retreat. It's going to be the first talk, because I think it is the foundation of all what we are going to see, right? If we realize why we are separated, then we can realize that love is the only solution, and that following our dharma or finding our dharma is the action to take, and finally that forgiveness is somehow the remedy. And those are going to be the 4 talks, even though we're going to have a conversation about this in a more general way. I think that is August 17. In September, but we talk about that later on. Any other questions or anything that you would like to say, or any comment you want to come up with?
Well, that's a lot of food for thought.
Yeah. Great that you can go there, and I think that listening to this will help you. So it's gonna be soon on the ether in my YouTube channel, so it's easy. But you have direct access, so the only thing that you need to do is to send me an email with questions, and then I will do my best to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of this. I love you both, and let's see ourselves at in yoga mat.
Absolutely.
Ciao. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.